Hey folks, just a reminder to check out my other channel, How to Rock Spirit, where I talk about everything under the sun, from astrology to mysticism to psychedelic yoga to practical materialism and philosophy too. Hope to see you there. Namaste. Howdy folks, my name's Dustin Cormier and welcome to How to Rock a Campfire. Today's episode is going to be on I got another funny one. It's Up in Smoke by Cheech and Chong. This is a funny old tune from like either probably 70s I guess. And anyway, the chords are all alright and stuff, and it's all about just getting high with your friends. It's a good time. And you know, jamming is usually pretty conducive to this kind of tune. So I guess I'm just going to go into it. I love Cheech and Chong. That's what I wanted to say, is that those guys are like 60s icons, you know, it's kind of my thing. Alright, anyway, so I'm just going to show you guys how to play the tune. Yeah, so this is a good song for a beginner because there's lots of funny little runs and stuff. I guess when I play the song, I'm always trying to add the little riffs that they've got going on in there throughout it. So when I play through the song, I'll add those in. But if you're a beginner, you can just do the basic 1-5. Right? Up in smoke, that's where my money goes. In my lungs, right? So you can either do that, or you can follow along with all the funky little stuff. I'll try to show you as much of those as I can. I've only learned so much of them anyway. If you listen to them, they got lots of cool Spanish guitars and stuff going on, right? Anyway, so those are our chords. We're in D, and I like how they do this like up in smoke, jumbo, bum, 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 bum. They do a bunch of little things like that. That's the riffs I'm talking about. So you're going D, run up to the G, D, E, F sharp, G. A lot of the times with the D chord, you'll notice that like this part of the song is in D major, and the D major chords all fit into the notes that you're doing here. D, B, you hit the C sharp, but usually I try to stick to like the major pentatonic scale, and that's a scale that's good for all these funky little riffs that you're hearing. So that's why the only thing you're really playing is D, B, A, D, B, A, G, F sharp, and D. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, and also the E. Yeah, so anyway, I'll show you that one that I'm getting at there, to the G. Up in smoke, that's where my money goes. Sometimes I do it there, actually, I don't know. I'll just go by flow when I'm into it. That's where my money goes. In my lungs. And you're just going for that riff, you're going either from the G, G, open A, B, D, B, A, D, right? In my lungs, and sometimes up my nose, when troubled times. And so I like to do these runs, right? For beginners as well as the people who are doing the little riffs, I like to keep a solid rhythm throughout the whole thing that is basically, I call it 1-5. And the reason is because we're in the key of D, right? The D, that main note, that's your open D string, right? The fifth of D is A, that's the A string, so that's why I'm calling it 1-5. 1-5-1, because the reason is A is the fifth of D in the D scale. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, D, E, F sharp, G, A, that's the fifth, D, fifth, first, fifth. So what you're doing is you're basically going do, down, chuck-a down, chuck-a down, chuck-a down, chuck. And you're trying to hit you're doing the D chord, and you're trying to hit the first note in the chord, which is the D, on one accent. Then you do a chuck-a, and then on your second accent, an accent's when you just hit one note louder than all the other ones, you know. Bow, chuck-a, bow, chuck-a, bow, right? Accent the D, chuck-a, and then accent the open A string, and then chuck-a, right? Down in my lungs, and sometimes up my nose. In troubled times. I know I showed that riff, and I'll show you that riff in a sec, but I'm trying to get at these little bass runs, and sometimes up my nose. I'm a bass player, so I'm always trying to throw in all these little riffs, usually, anyway. But this is actually what they do in the song. They do it on the guitar. That's why it sounds very like, it's like a melodic bass groove they got going on, which is pretty cool. And so I guess I'll show you that A riff, right? In my lungs and sometimes up my nose. Yeah, duff that a little. So you're going up on your A. I like to do this A chord. Usually I don't advocate doing this finger thing where you're always supposed to have all your knuckles stuck out when you play, but I don't know, this is just one of those tricks, I suppose. You go from the A and you actually bend the knuckle in, and you go the regular A chord, and you put your third finger on the third fret of the B and fourth finger on the fourth fret of the G string. It's sort of like an A with a suspended fourth and also add ninth. And then the next chord is just basically a regular A chord because it's got the high E note and the C sharp note. So this is C sharp and A, then this is B and D, and then this is C sharp and E. And sometimes up my nose when troubled times begin. D7 to bother me, I take a toke and all my care. I don't do the runs so much in the key of E, but anyway, we'll get there. I take a toke and all my cares go up in smoke. And this one we go to the E major, right? And then up, down. They do that right when they go in the E. And all my cares go up in smoke. Up in smoke. Right, and then he goes the Spanish thing, that's Cheech. So that, what I'm doing is I'm going from I do an E chord, and then I try to go, with my first finger still on my G sharp note, I go G sharp and B in the B note. Then I put my third finger and fourth finger on the second fret on the G string and B string, and that's sort of like an A chord in the middle there. And then what I usually like to do is take my pinky off and slide up to this, which is basically the E7th chord. Right, there's your E. The third fret of the B string, which is the D note. Obviously, D is the 7th of E. E is the 1st and the 8th, and then so D is the 7th. And your B note is the 4th fret of the G string. That's what I'm doing there. So I'm just going the open-faced E chord, then that sort of like an A chord, but just with your last two fingers. Then you slide up to this like E7th type thing. That's what the notes are anyway in the E chord, right? Because this whole thing is all E chord. Right? You'd be doing that while some friends are doing like the regular chords. Up in smoke, donde todo se respire. I'm not as good with the key of E with all these little runs and stuff, but I'm still going to show you guys the chords anyway. Donde todo se respire. There are no signs que dicen no es fumé. usually when I go to that no feel, I do a B7th and I use my first finger to hit the 5th on the F sharp note. And I'm just trading between the accents there. You know, when I put that finger on that 2nd fret, which is the F sharp, the 5th of the B, that's a B7th chord, and the F sharp is the 5th, right? When I do that, I let the fat part of my 2nd finger kill off the A string, so you just can't hear it, right? So all you can hear is the B, chuck, the F sharp, chuck, the B, when troubled times, So that's the run from the B7. Blah, 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 blah. Si que dice no es fluir, so I roll un bomber. Yeah, that's right. So from that B7th, you go C sharp, then D sharp, and then E. C sharp, D sharp, E. And that's when you go to the E7th, right? So I rolled un bomber, y me doy un buen toque. That probably sounds good, right? So I do that A chord, and then I go A, C sharp, E, and then I use my pinky to go up to like the 7th there. Something like that, you know? I'm just showing you guys little riffs you can do in between these chords. So I blah 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 y me doy un buen toque. A, C sharp, E, F sharp, and then G with your pinky on the 5th fret. So if you want, obviously there's a shorter way. You go from the A chord, and then you go C sharp, E, F sharp, and then the open G string, and then F sharp with your 3rd finger, and then E, right? Y me doy un buen toque. I would usually just slide up there, I don't know, but you can do either or, right? Un buen toque. Y después I choke. Y todo me cares. Go up in smoke. Let's all go get high. Right, so, yeah. Y después I choke. Y todo me cares. What I'm doing is I'm going from that E chord, and I let my pinky hit the G sharp note, G sharp, chromatic up to the B7th, right? Y después I choke. Y todo me cares, right? G sharp, A sharp, B. That's what it's getting at. Go up in smoke. Up in smoke. That's where I wanna be. Anyway, that's pretty much the whole tune there, folks. I've kind of I've shown you a few little riffs in there that are pretty much usually in the major pentatonic of the key that you're playing it in, right? So this, the first part of the song is in the key of D, because we know D, 1, 4, 5 is how you can tell if a song goes D, G, and A, those are the 3 chords that are basic to the key of D, right? So the song's in D, and then it switches to the key of E. So the first part of the song, if you're going to do any kind of pentatonic stuff, if you know about the pentatonic scales and you know the notes on the guitar, you're going to want to do D pentatonic kind of over everything. No, something like that anyway. And then for the E, you want to do E major pentatonic. I don't know, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Yeah, so I'm going to play this tune for you guys, and just to show you the whole thing, the whole way through, after I've patched all this together. So this is Up in Smoke by Tommy Chong and Cheech Marin, and I hope you guys enjoy. Shit. Up in smoke, that's where my money goes. toke, and all my cares go up in smoke. Alright. Up in smoke, donde todo se mire. There are no signs que dicen no es fume. So I roll un bomber y me doy un buen toque. Después I choke, y todo mi cares go up in smoke. Alright, let's all go get high. Up in smoke, that's where I wanna be. 'Cause when I'm high, the world below don't bother me. When life I take a toke, and all my cares go up in smoke. I take a toke, and all my cares go up in smoke. Cool. Right on, that was fun. Yeah, so hope you guys enjoyed that. That was Up in Smoke by Cheech and Chong. One of those classic 70s type tunes that I do. And yeah, hope you guys dug it. I'm gonna go have a smoke.